Our office is excited for the opportunity to present this information regarding our Connected Florida BEAD program and how we plan to partner with our state and technical colleges, as well as other educational institutions to help Florida build out its workforce in advance of infrastructure construction efforts. A couple housekeeping items before we begin. This webinar is being recorded with closed captioning, and the recording is available on the Office of Broadband's website by the end of next week. Additionally, please utilize the chat feature to ask questions, and we will address them at the end of the presentation. To begin, I wanted to provide a little background regarding the Office of Broadband. The office was established by the legislature in 2020 to encourage the use of broadband internet throughout the state, distribute grant funds to build new broadband infrastructure to unserved areas, and promote adoption and use of broadband in unserved, underserved, and rural areas of Florida. To date, the office has awarded over $700 million in funding for new infrastructure construction, multi-purpose community facility upgrades, and digital device programs. The office has been allocated over $1.1 billion in funding through the BEAD program to all remaining unserved and underserved locations in Florida. This will also be the source of funding for the office's future workforce development, digital literacy, and cybersecurity training efforts. I want to recognize our state partners at the REACH office and the Florida Department of Education, as they have been integral in developing the foundation of our future workforce efforts. Representatives from the REACH office and the Florida Department of Education are also in attendance today and are available for questions at the end of the presentation. Additionally, we have the Chief of Staff of Florida Commerce, Mr. Adam Calloway, on the line to share a few words. Adam?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Leo. Thanks, y'all, for attending our workforce webinar today. Connected Florida has been hard at work for the past couple years as we work to close the digital divide in this state. To that end, we've awarded more than $700 million in funding for new infrastructure to Florida's underserved, unserved, and rural areas. We've also awarded tens of millions to renovate and construct state-of-the-art community facilities and to fund digital device programs. We got a lot of work left to do. We estimate that Florida will still need around 20,000 new construction jobs in order to deploy the new infrastructure from this round of funding in a timely fashion. And that's where y'all come in. As we get later into the webinar, we need our state and technical colleges and K through 12 career and technical education to help train Florida's broadband workforce and ensure that we are prepared for new infrastructure deployment as quickly as possible. But I won't talk anymore. Just thank y'all for your participation in the process. Stay tuned for more updates on this funding, and we'll keep y'all in the loop on a rolling basis as we develop and roll things out. Now I'll turn it back over to Leo and Jacob to continue.
Thank you, Adam. So the BEAD program is a federal program funded through the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act for broadband infrastructure, digital adoption and use activities, workforce, and economic development. Connected Florida has been working on its initial proposals for BEAD funds, which detail Florida's spending plan for the BEAD dollars. Those proposals were recently approved by the federal government, giving Florida the green light to move forward with its BEAD program. Florida's allocation for this program is over $1.1 billion. As we have discussed, Florida's BEAD program will fund both infrastructure deployment and non-deployment programming. The non-deployment program will fund Florida's workforce efforts, which is the subject for today's webinar. The Connected Florida BEAD program represents the state's largest broadband expansion effort to date. With the $1.1 billion in funding, the office will not only fund initiatives for workforce deployment or development, but digital literacy and cybersecurity training, but will also provide high-speed broadband internet to every single remaining unserved and underserved location in the state. This funding will be used to supplement over $700 million that has already been awarded through the Office's Broadband Opportunity and Capital Projects Fund programs. The non-deployment funding will go hand in hand with the newly renovated and constructed multi-purpose community facilities and digital device programs funded through the office. BEAD non-deployment will also be supported by the forthcoming Digital Capacity Grant Program, which the office will distribute to fund similar economic development, workforce development, and digital literacy initiatives. The Connected Florida BEAD program will supercharge Florida's broadband workforce pipeline. It will fund the deployment of high-speed, reliable broadband to all of the state's remaining unserved and underserved area. It will teach end users how to connect with technology previously unavailable to them, and it will users protect themselves and their networks. I will now hand it over to Jacob to discuss BEAD non-deployment.
Thank you, Leo. The Connected Florida BEAD non-deployment plan will put $110 million in funding toward a comprehensive broadband workforce development program and $30 million towards digital literacy skills and cybersecurity training programs to ensure Florida's newly constructed networks are safe. We are also anticipating $70 million for the Digital Capacity Grant Program that will be utilized towards digital literacy, economic and workforce, and digital navigator programs. The office has been in active conversation with private industry, academia, and other state government partners to develop curriculum frameworks for deployment personnel in advance of BEAD deployment funding. The office is currently holding discussions with industry leaders to get an understanding of their needs to ensure any curricula developed have the private sector in mind, allowing for a greater degree of confidence for job seekers and businesses. The office anticipates opening applications for funding in spring of 2025. BEAD funding can be used in several different ways, including to develop training programs within the state of Florida. BEAD non-deployment funding can be utilized for a number of different types of educational programs depending on your area's specific needs. Some specific initiatives that will be eligible for funding include apprentice and pre-apprenticeship programs, on-the-job training programs, credentialing and certificate programs, purchasing relevant training equipment, student tuition, and recruiting high-quality instructors to teach courses. Many of these types of programs in the telecommunications field already exist, and we can use BEAD non-deployment funding to help increase capacity. If we are lacking in training materials or content for any of these types of programs, funding can be used to supplement those needs as well. As stated previously, we've been responsive to private industry's needs by working with MasTech, Miami-Dade College, and the Florida Department of Education to roll out proven curriculum frameworks. We are still in the early stages of our welcome your feedback. If you have any ideas that we may have missed, or if you have an innovative program at your institutions that we can draw from, please let us know. We're counting on your support to make this as beneficial for Floridians as possible. This slide shows the awards that have been granted to state colleges within Florida. We have awarded 7 colleges within Florida from 2 broadband programs, the Multipurpose Community Facilities Program and the Digital Connectivity Technology Program. The state colleges that received multipurpose funding were able to build or renovate existing facilities, expand broadband access, like providing access to education, workforce training, telehealth activities, and general internet usage. The state colleges that received digital connectivity funding were able to provide digital devices and equipment for their libraries and computer labs. One of our colleges, St. Petersburg College, was able to purchase 300 laptops to increase workforce opportunities, education, and health monitoring for the Pinellas County community. The office sees state and technical colleges as key partners in its BEAD non-deployment workforce efforts. As we will discuss in just a moment, the office has been in contact with some private industry and academic groups already to establish curriculum frameworks and training plans for job seekers. By partnering with both industry and academia in this effort, the office is helping to ensure that job seekers will have confidence in their ability to get a job upon completion of their program, and industry will have confidence that new workers will have the skills that they need to build out and maintain Florida's new networks. Educational institutions are paramount to this effort, as they will be the ones responsible for teaching this information to job seekers. The office also plans to use funding to reach Florida's K-12 population and educate that key demographic on the benefits of a career in the broadband industry. To that end, state and technical colleges will be eligible to receive funding to increase their capacity for these degree and training programs, instructor recruitment, and equipment purchasing. Additional details will be available when we launch our anticipated application window next spring. I'll now pass it back to Leo to discuss the curriculum frameworks we've been working on with private industry and state colleges.
Thanks, Jacob. So this slide demonstrates a training plan for a fiber technician, which was developed in partnership with Miami-Dade College and construction firm MasTec. This plan demonstrates an all-encompassing framework for a job seeker to become trained as a fiber technician and get a job with one of the office's many subgrantees upon completion. This plan contains certifications, technical certificates, college credits, and an associate degree, which in combination with the improved curriculum framework represents an industry-approved path towards a career in the broadband field. The office recognizes that many of these are applicable to other telecom and electrical workers and will complement to reskilled workers who already possess some of these competencies and credentials to become a broadband professional. This slide presents a sample curriculum framework for a fiber technician, also developed in partnership with MasTec and Miami-Dade College. This curriculum framework was developed and delivered to the Florida Department of Education for their review and approval. This means that the framework will be made available to be distributed for free to any state or technical college upon approval. The office will prioritize infrastructure installers for curriculum frameworks in the short term. But Florida will also need to train workers after infrastructure have been deployed in the fields of IT, system administration, network maintenance, customer support, and other broadband-related jobs. As you can see from this slide, we are well into the thick of our BEAD workforce program planning. We have received approval of our proposals for the program from the federal government, and we are constantly engaged with the private sector so that our funding can be used to address their specific workforce needs. Additionally, we will be hosting a series of technical webinars in the near future that will speak more specifically to the application requirements, subgrantee expectations, and our overall funding process. We have tentatively scheduled our non-deployment funding application to open in March of 2025 in advance of the infrastructure, which we anticipate to open in July 2025. It is paramount that Florida's broadband workforce be prepared prior to the deployment of BEAD funds to ensure there are no delays in getting service to Florida's unserved and underserved populations. Additionally, we want to make everyone on the call aware of another forthcoming funding opportunity through our office that may be of interest, which is our digital capacity grant. Like BEAD non-deployment grant, this will provide funding for digital literacy programs, digital device programs, digital navigators, and more. We are anticipating an informational webinar for our digital capacity grant in January of this next upcoming year. We plan to open the application period in February of 2025. If you would, please subscribe to updates on our website so you can stay in the loop about that and other funding opportunities through our office. At this time, we'll take a brief pause to gather and review any questions that we might have already received during the presentation. And then as a reminder, please feel free to use the chat feature to share any questions you may have. We'll be back in a few minutes. All right, we did receive one question regarding websites and where to register for communication regarding broadband and BEAD. If you visit our website at floridajobs.org/broadband, it'll bring you to the Office of Broadband's webpage. And then on that page, there is a subscribe for updates button that will take you straight to a registration page. Once you do register on that page, any communication that comes out of our office will be transmitted to all that have been, put onto that distribution list. Additionally, on our webpage, there is a specific BEAD tab on our page that will take you to all the documentation information regarding the BEAD program. I believe Charles has updated in the chat the direct link to our webpage. So thanks, Charles. We'll take a few more minutes for folks to type their questions into the chat feature.
So we just received another question. Is there a model outline for the curriculum at state level for broadband training? So we do not have a model outline. We've just been receiving feedback from industry and from the colleges to try and sort of assess their needs and make sure that we're meeting their needs. So we do not have a model outline open to any feedback about that, and we're happy to put you in contact with the people that we've been working with on that if you have any questions about developing your own curriculum.
Right. Seeing that there aren't any other questions at the moment, again, we would like to thank you for your engagement and attendance in this presentation. We are eager to continue sharing information about our upcoming grant programs as it becomes available, and to keep moving forward in our vision to expand broadband in the state of Florida, engage with our partners, and advance a connected economy. Again, as mentioned, this webinar recording will be made available on our website and should be uploaded by the end of next week. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at leo.garcia@commerce.fl.gov. Again, thank you for your time.